FAMU's Mary. Educate, learn, talk.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode. This is a very, very special episode. I'm taking the lead here, but my homeboy, my role model, and I have no shame in saying I am a fan of the man that you see in the other screen who has agreed to join me. I love him. He is a jewel to our community. That is the one and only Jeff Fox. Hey Jeff, thank you.
Thank you so much, man. I am flattered beyond measure by those kind words. Thank you. The check is definitely in the mail.
Well, when I get the check, we're going to spend it on us. I'm glad we can laugh, but we had a discussion beforehand that the somber mode, somber tone, but at the same time, we have to remember what this great Titan would have wanted us to do, and that's to do exactly what we're doing right now to continue.
Yes, sir.
And that is, this episode is our dedication to the one and only Jason Jenkins. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. I was blown away. Tony, it's almost like a family member passed. That's what it felt like when I got the news. I got it from my friend Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas, who was actually at the game. And he texted me and said, Jason Jenkins just died. And I was like, what? It was almost like the Kobe Bryant thing. You're always going to remember that moment because it's just so unexpected,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And death is one of the hardest things about life for us all to deal with. And I have a tough time processing. I'm still shaken.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
It's going to take years, Jeff. It's going to take years.
Yeah.
And I think that if we just continue to do the mission that we're doing, but also understand his mission and how much he cared about all of us. You and I wanted to gather around having Jason be inducted into the Ring of Honor, the Miami Dolphins Hall of Fame, if you will. It's not a hall, it's a ring around the stadium. I can't think of another person who's not a player beyond Coach Shula that has passed that deserves it.
I think mine is the fact that Jason made us feel special. He made me feel like I was CNN or ESPN or somebody. Like treated me like a VIP. When it came to having access to the Dolphins, to the players, to Dolphin gear, to have giveaways or whatever, to support me when I started the FBM, like you had right there. Or like when I wanted to start, the JeffFoxShow.com, and I needed stuff to give away to the fans. He was just always so accommodating, and he was genuine. So I looked at my thoughts of who Jason was, and I struggle to say that, but I look at that, then I look at what everybody else is saying. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not the only one who felt that way. Like, he made us all feel like we were individually one of his most important people to deal with. That's a skill. That's a special skill. And I appreciate the fact that I'm not the only one who felt that way about him. And he's been like that since day one, since my days on ESPN radio at 790, The Ticket. Ever since I was introduced to him years and years ago, he's treated me the exact same way.
I wore this hat today because this hat came from Jason.
Wow.
He's like, I was going on to the West Coast and he said, wear this.
Yeah.
I met Jason, I think he'd only been here a year, and they were at the Nova in the Dome. And I decided I was going to cover the Dolphins again. And he took a special interest like he did you. I have my brother who's a Dolphins fan, but he lives in Jacksonville.
Right.
And he consistently throughout the last 13 years would ask about my brother. After my brother had a stroke, he would ask, like, how does he remember this? He's got ESPN over there, Fox over there, NBC, and then all the local, and he's remembering a small media outlet like ours. He had a way with making the Miami Dolphins brand matter in communities that it didn't matter before. And later, of course, F1. He had to thread the needle because he could have come off looking like an Uncle Tom speaking for the man, but he was able to learn the community aggressively, show love for the community, and then exemplify what a professional sports franchise could mean to a community, its youth, whether it's feeding kids with the superintendent of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, whether it's supporting the 5,000 role models, whether it's enabling small outlets like ours to expand the Dolphin brand. He was able to inject that by doing more than he said. Words are cheap, but you would look around, if you follow his thread, he was doing things for people across the board, all over the place. It was stunning. Would you say?
Absolutely. I thought Jason stood out really, especially during the pandemic. We were not sure what was going to happen with the world, but there he was working tirelessly, making sure that people in the community were fed, dealing with the every type of charity organization you could think of, making sure the youth, our Black youth, our inner city youth were connected with the police officers, the events that they had at Hard Rock Stadium. I mean, I get it that he has a great staff. My condolences to them, Brett, Paula, and everybody else in that office at the Dolphins Communications. Great PR people. They have a great team over there, which was led by Jason. And my heart goes out to those folks over there, because I couldn't imagine having a better boss. Like, he just was excellence personified. That's who he was.
That's who he was, man. So the theme here again is not just honoring and giving a tribute to the great Jason Jenkins, and I use that word great very sparingly in my life, but he's there. And I always said this when he was alive, so I'm not being like, oh, let's give flowers when they're dead. I mean, we've done shows about Jason, we've honored him, but it's about getting him in that ring of honor, right?
Absolutely. He should be up there, man, because this guy's different. He's just different. I think that Jason had a special love, not for his job, that people could see genuinely that this was not a company guy. This was not a guy that was just towing the line. This was a guy who loved his community. So many different events over the years where the movies with a bunch of kids during the time when there was a lot of racial tension going on around the country. And I was so proud of Jason and the Dolphins, to be honest with you, because a lot of people around the country were down on the NFL in particular. Jason represented the owner, Stephen Ross, I thought very well. The Dolphins, to me, were different from the other franchises, some that wouldn't even consider giving opportunities to African Americans. But Jason took his position. He trailblazed his way across South Florida in every spectrum, every facet of life.
That's all the more reason to see his name up in that ring of honor.
You cigar finger.
We are dead serious. I know it's in your heart. I think it's the right thing to do. We are all bought in, Jeff and I, like we all have great relationships to make it happen, but I can't think of a better way to look around that stadium and to see Jason Jenkins' name up there for us, for the community, for his family, for the NFL, for the Dolphins. But
there'll never be another one.
But I told him he was my role model because you could look at him and there's the playbook. There it is. But you got to study it in detail. For Stephen Ross to grab this guy and allow him to blossom and to allow him to be a spokesperson for him, especially when all the heat was coming down and Jason was able to walk that walk through this challenging environment. I'm going to pivot to another reason. F1.
Yep.
For those who know me, I have the show Autofocus World that has a spinoff called On the Track. And Jason knew. He says, I know you love racing. I'm going to talk to you about F1. I'm like, I'm in, whatever you need. So he calls me and we started putting things together. And he said, once we got going, he said, hey, how would you love kids. I have a couple programs and stuff with kids. And he said, how would you like to go over to one of the elementary schools and be with the kids? And I'm like, great. It'd be okay if you introduced Willie T. Ribbs. Mic drop right there. Like everything went in slow motion because are you aware that that's my hero? And I introduced him and the kids loved him. And then I had the great fortune to introduce Lewis Hamilton. Jason's on the edge of the stage saying, you're done. Come off the stage. Because I'm just looking.
Right.
Looking like, let me take this in. This is one of the greatest drivers in the history of auto racing, period.
Yeah.
So I looked at Jason and he's like, come on, get off the stage.
Right.
I kind of moonwalked off the stage. Not that anyone saw me because they were watching Lewis Hamilton, but I just thought that the way he handled my mistake and hid my mistake.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jason Jenkins story?
Jason knew, and he always knew from day one, that I was a Raiders fan, right? And he always knew it. And so if you remember during the pandemic, the Raiders lost to the Dolphins when Ryan Fitzpatrick threw some kind of miracle pass on, I don't know, it was late in the game, and the Dolphins came back to win. I thought the Raiders had the game won. Dolphins won by a field goal. Jason texted me from Vegas. He's up there with the team, and he texted me just to rub it in, you know. And that's the kind of guy he was, man. He's not too big in his position to remember genuine people, like little people. You know what I mean? Like he didn't think too much of himself. Like I'm gonna stick it to Jeff right there. You know, then there was another time we had a game here at Hard Rock Stadium. Pre-game, we had to do an event with the 500 role models. So as I'm doing the event, and I have on a Miami Dolphins t-shirt, and I said, Jason, aren't you proud of me? Look, I'm wearing Dolphin gear at the game. Somehow, Jason knew, let me just raise up this shirt a little bit. And underneath it was the silver and black of the Raiders. And he just knew, he caught me red-handed.
He busted you.
He busted me right there on camera. I don't know where that video is. Maybe Lorenzo has it. But I'm sure he remembers because it was hilarious. He was like, I knew you couldn't do it. I was like, Jason, man, I'm a fan, man. I love the Dolphins. You know, with that in mind, man, I would not mind. If we don't win it this year, I would love for the Dolphins to win it for my man Jason, because he deserves it.
He does deserve it. He deserves to get up on that ring of honor. I'm a little teary-eyed right now.
Yeah.
And I'm conflicted because, you know, a wise man told me that, hey, he ran his race. He's done. He did what he was here to do. Be happy and don't be selfish to want more.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate what you got. And with that said, you know, that's why I appreciate you and tell people today that I love them, and they can think what they want, you know.
Yeah.
He was like a conductor with the New York Symphony or New World Symphony. One of the things that I really enjoyed with him is just watching him. In his world, he's making things happen so that what we actually see turns out smoother.
Absolutely. He was flawless in his role with the Dolphins. And I read in the recent reports over the weekend that he was Stephen Ross's right hand. Well, What a great right hand to have. You know what I mean? Because he really did everything well. And, you know, as his friend, I would tag his wife, Elizabeth, on some of the interviews we did. And I would laugh and crack up at some of the stuff, the interactions between he and his beautiful kids.
Did you see the dancing video?
Yeah. Jason's just a great dad, man. Great family, man.
Girl dad, man. Yeah.
All the way.
You know what I'm talking about, where he's dancing with the little girls. It was like maybe their school recital. I don't know what it was, but his big behind up there.
Yeah.
And he was having a ball.
I know they're going to miss him so much because even the Tooth Fairy video, that one stood out to me as well. And I'm like, well, you know what? I guess this is normal because my parents kind of did that with me, when they would take the tooth, I guess, and hide it under the pillow or something. And to see Jason doing that with his kids, he goes from being the Miami Dolphins executive guy to just being dad.
Yes.
Which is pretty damn cool,
Absolutely.
Pretty
and
cool.
I got to give him props, I refuse to beat my chest on things that I need to pass the baton on. The F1 and motorsports racing, which I love and I'm passionate about daily. He appreciated it. Tell the community story of what the Dolphins are doing in the community, because a lot of people don't know about what they're doing in the community with the kids, with the grant that they just recently announced, providing lots of support to
local
businesses, most of which are local or are people of color or women, but not exclusively. And there was just, the internship program. We can go on and on that the deliverables were there. And so I'm learning to make sure that we tell a whole story, not just that, hey, this F1 race comes to Miami and it kicks total butt. It's the coolest thing you ever see, with a car that's basically a jet with wheels going by, and the technology and the STEM and all those things. He got that. Yeah. But at the same time, that this is for the community. And then he had to do the community day.
No doubt. I'm joining you here today. And I'd like to call out our fellow members of the media, because they all love Jason. Everybody had basically the same story about how great he was, how genuine, how kind, how tirelessly he worked to support everybody, to give everybody easier access, to make everybody feel like they were a part of what was going on with the Miami Dolphins, to make the community feel involved. I think this man, when I watch the news talk about it and I read the newspaper articles, they call him a giant, in this community. That's exactly what he was. And he means so much to us, everybody, so I think he should be immortalized, so to speak, in the Dolphins Ring of Honor, should be mentioned with the great icons. Even on the field, should be mentioned with the Jim Mandishes of the world, the Dan Marinos. When you think Miami Dolphins, you should always think Jason Jenkins as well. It's hard for me to imagine anybody better in that role around the NFL than Jason Jenkins.
Guys, if you're watching, please take a moment to subscribe to both our channels.
I've got one that I just wrote about Jason, and I just, basically told people, my friend Jason Jenkins, who I will love forever and remember forever. Thank you, Tony, man, for making me laugh while talking about Jason, because this was a tough weekend for me, man. I had to go and DJ the night I got the news, and that was the hardest thing to do. But I went to work. I went, and I'm glad I went, because I think that's what Jason would have wanted us to do.
I'm out of my fog a little bit, and you helped by sharing great
Thank
things
you.
That made me smile. Pay attention and stay up to speed about the Ring of Honor progress that may be in place already, but if it's not, we're going to push for that. And secondly, anything that the family may need, whatever's going to happen, we will do our best to share. I'm sure the Dolphins are going to do that, so we'll best follow their lead. Here was a titan, an icon, and a friend, unlike anything we've seen in a long time, if ever, in that role. And when you talk to your kids, talk about this man and what he stood for and how he did it, whether it's his family, his community, his job, his loyalty to the team, his loyalty. And those are the things you want to teach when you look at attributes of a real role model, a real man, and a gentleman, a fashion icon. And you and I know that we all have the same good hair that Jason has.
Yeah, we do. We represent the ball club. And people always say this, to tell your loved ones that you love them. If there's anyone that you're upset at, call them, try to work it out. because it's not worth it to see it all end on a bad note. I'm just happy that the last time I communicated with Jason was I texted him I posted on Twitter, and it's on Twitter, and I tagged him, and I posted a picture of my son, who's in the Marine Corps. My son is in boot camp in the Marine Corps. And I said, I was talking to, and I said how much I love my son. And I was telling Jason, the only thing he ever did wrong for me as a father was he never became a Raider fan. And then I said, Jason, I blame you. I blame you, Jason Jenkins. I blame you. And then he responded, it's right there on Twitter. He responded and said, well, it's a good thing the apple fell far from the tree. Typical Jason. Typical Jason.
Oh yeah, he's got some one-liner. He's quick.
Yeah, he's quick with it. He's quick with it.
And yeah, we share that.
I love that guy, man.
You gotta love him. Jeff, thanks
Yes, sir.
again.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, we're out.
Appreciate it.
Be blessed. Keep your positive vibes positive. Keep those vibrations flowing in a good way. Stay away from negative and negative people. Just let it fly off you. Dust off
Push it off your shoulder.
There you go. All right, peace.
Be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Socially, we're living in a polarized world, an America that's arguably more polarized than any time since the Civil War. We can't accept this. To some degree, the 140 character, cynical, sensational soundbite and the narcissism of social media has corrupted our senses. We're losing our civility, our empathy, and our humanity. Well, we have good news. You in this room right here, you're the good news. Your generation has the chance to do something historic on the behalf of civilization. To relight the torch of liberty and justice that has sustained so many through so much darkness the world over. This group of here, you're smarter, you're like bad English, you're smarter. You're smarter, more informed, more tolerant, and through your connected relationships, more mature and more wise than any generation before you. You have values. You're not afraid of diversity. You see the best and good in all people. You look at the content of their character, not superficial labels meant to divide us. All of your eyes are wide open, and you have the courage and power to wake up this great country. And we're gonna need you now more than ever. We have your back. And so I believe that. Texas Tech graduating class of 2018, you got the ball. But we all believe in you. Everybody on this stage believes in you. Everybody in these stands believes in you. And most importantly, believe in yourself. We love you. Run with it. Make us proud. Texas Tech.